Hello my sweets, welcome to today's tutorial. Today is a requested video. We're going to learn to draw two My Hero Academia chibis. We're going to draw Izuku Midoriya or Deku and Katsuki Bakugo or Kacchan. So let's start with Deku. So we're going to do him with a heroic stance in chibi form because I love chibis and chibis are nice and easy. So, oh, did I mention they're both going to be chibis? Yeah, they're both going to be chibis. Anyways, so let's start. This time we're going to do the circle and rectangle method. So let's draw a big circle up at the top of the page. You can trace a cup if you want to make a perfect circle. Alright, then we're going to draw a rectangle tilted on its side below him and make this rectangle the size that you want his body to be. If you want him to be a slightly more realistic chibi, give him a larger rectangle so that the ratio of head to body is more realistic. And if you want a tiny little cute body, then adjust it for that so that his head is like way larger than the rest of his body. Alright, now let's do the angle of his spine. It's going to be curved in because he's leaning forward. That's where this curve is, while his hips and legs are coming toward us, more or less. Alright, and he will be looking straight at us. So I've done a slight little curve here, just keeping it 3D. And on the far lower half, we'll do another line. Good. So what I want to do first is I want to add detail to the face. So what we'll do is we will darken the lines of the circle down to this dividing line here, where we will curve out a very soft curve to make his cheek. We will then bring it back to the bottom of the circle. Now he has a cute little pudgy chibi cheek. Okay, at this other side we will add his ear, which is like a big teardrop shape that isn't fully lined in. If it was fully lined in, it would look like this. But we will leave this small segment at the lower left half open and then sort of draw an S inside to make the detail for the ear. Alright, time for the body. Divide this rectangle just about in half. This line should be closer to the bottom than it is to the top. Okay, so we're going to have one of his shoulders here, so draw a circle to indicate it, and the other circle will be here. Not exactly on the corner of the rectangle right there. Alright, start on this shoulder and draw a curved line that matches the line of the spine. And then suddenly comes out and curves out a whole lot more. And do it a little bit, do another line a little bit inside this shoulder circle. Alright. Now we have some of his body. It's starting to take shape. Alright, we'll continue. And this is not the center of his body. This is just the curve it will be doing. The center of his body is more like this. It's angled slightly away from us. And the hips will be around this point, which means we can do these little curved lines like little briefs, little Midoriya briefs. And these will help us place the legs later on, as well as segment the body off nicely so that we can see how this pose goes together. So just draw these, and we can now erase the spine in this portion. And we can erase the bottom of the rectangle. You can actually go ahead and erase the whole rectangle if you want, but I'm going to keep it just so that you can see how the whole thing fits into the original guidelines. Okay, his legs will be quite wide apart for a heroic pose, and the leaning forward means that he's hunkered down and ready for action. while his arms are bent sort of towards himself. His elbows will be positioned at his hips right here in a ready stance, so the shape for his arms will be sort of like this. So here are the motion or pose lines that we will be working from. Okay, let's now do his chubby little legs. So we just do lines off of these curved parts here, spread out very wide and almost to the bottom of the rectangle here, which I erased. I will unerase it. Okay, so his knees are almost at the bottom of this rectangle. And yeah, I have made his body bigger than the rectangle. Apologies for that. You should still be able to follow the tutorial anyways. So now, for this leg, it will be bent in here as if he's ready to spring away or toward you with it. So just draw 2 lines off this knee. Don't try and put them like this, the way it would normally be positioned. His thigh is closer to us and higher than his lower leg, so it's going to be behind the lower leg. Just try and see it as a layered image. Whereas this leg is pointed more directly at us. You can even have it straight out if you want, but I think that looks kind of strange, so I go with the slightly bent. With fighting training, you'll see tips that say don't lock your body up, have your knees slightly bent. It looks like Deku is taking that advice, so you might want to keep his knees slightly bent. Alright, time for his little feet. It's sort of like a trapezoid. Thank you again for the trapezoid information. And this one is another trapezoid. Alright, time to erase some guidelines before we work on the arms and his expression. Alright, so you might know already that a chibi body should start up thin at the top and then get all nice and pudgy and round as it goes down. So carve out this body shape just a little. His neck will not be visible as his shoulders are hunched in and his head is drawn down over his body. Okay, time for the arms. Let's draw little stick figure arms to start with. The upper arm on this side will not be seen. We'll only see the forearm and fist here. Okay, now draw squares for the fists and erase anything that's underneath that. Alright, now it should be really easy to draw in the arms. So we will work from the fists. Remember, try to see this as a layered image, and not quite off from the corners, we will draw 2 little cylinders for his arms. When we erase the guidelines, suddenly he's got 2 arms with fists held at the ready. I hope he doesn't break his arms this time. Alright, we now have his basic pose down. Time to lighten these guidelines so they don't get in the way and work on his expression. Deku has very nice round eyes that are easy to draw. So remember, the eyes need to be pretty low on the face when you're drawing chibis so that there's a lot of forehead space. Babies have a lot of forehead space, and chibis are based off of a baby's body, so they need to have a lot of forehead space like an actual baby. Comment your favorite My Hero Academia character down below. Currently mine is Kirishima. I don't know why, I just love Kirishima. You know, I think I really love almost all of them. They're so nice. I mean, except for the villains and Endeavor. But basically everybody is so good. Oh, let's erase this now. Alright, now he has round eyes that are looking right at us. Even though he'll be scowling in this expression, he just has such cute round eyes that even when he looks angry, his eyes are never scrunched down, hiding the irises at all. Draw another circle inside on the right, and then color in everything except that circle. Shiny Deku eyes. And thin little lines for his eyebrows. It's really looking like Deku now, huh? Also, our little hero has freckles, so he has like 4 freckles on this side, and then like 3 on the other, I think. So yeah, do the freckles under his eyes, and then give him a little determined frown. Or depending on your picture, he could be smiling because, you know, he's like a hero should smile when he's like scared or something. So just adjust the expression however you need. Okay, time to put this boy in his hero suit. Oh wait, first we need to do his little fingers. So the fingers will be really nice and easy. So just add these little ridges on his fists and his thumb. If you're confused on where to put the thumb, just remember you can use your own body as the reference, like emulate the pose and then just look at yourself and see where body parts go. I actually have to use that system a lot because for some reason I can never remember which side on. So I have to look at myself to be able to tell. Just gonna angle these arms a little bit in some more. Oops, we should have this foot planted firmly on the ground. And this one should come out just a little bit more toward us. Alright, now we can put on his hero suit. So, easy part first, his hoodie, which is easiest because it's behind him. Just draw a little bulge and then the little tuft that looks like bunny ears. And now for his mask, which is like a triangle. Try not to let it touch his mouth in chibi form because it'll make him look a little bit weird. So it's just a slightly rounded diamond. And then the hooks for it. Okay, let's erase this just a little bit. Okay, I'm erasing it. It might look like I'm erasing it a lot, but that's just the lighting. Okay, now he has a zipper down the front, so draw a very light line that squiggles when it reaches his waist, because this is where his uniform will bunch up and wrinkle. So you can have that effect by just squiggling this zipper line a little bit. Then we have his belt. And his belt has like these boxes on it, so draw some squares. And then we will make these squares 3D by adding another square to the bottom and then connect that to the top. Instant 3D. Alright, wrinkles for the pants. Follow the line of the thigh that is closest to us and draw some lines. Easy wrinkles. Okay, now he has these I don't know. Are they stripes? He has stripes near his shoulder, so just draw that in real quick. Looks like we can only fit one here. Then he has gloves, so just add the gloves. It might be a little bit hard to put clothes on a chibi since they're so small and so chubby, but I will be having a tutorial on that subject up pretty soon. Alright, his gloves have 2 stripes, so I just went ahead and scribbled that in there. And his mask is it's got these lines in it. Like that, I think. I should have a reference image up, but I don't. Okay, then he has these awesome boots or leg braces because he needs leg braces. Don't forget to follow the curve of the thigh when you draw these. It'll add a nice little touch. Okay, and just below his knees are these curved things. I'm sure there's a use to every part of his suit, but I don't know it offhand, so I'm going to give random names to these little attributes. Okay, and here's my favorite part. He's wearing like normal tennis shoes at the bottom. I don't know why, but I always found that so cute. So these are really high tennis shoes. So draw a curved line like this coming well off of his feet because they're nice and puffy. And same on this side. And then easy tennis shoes. We'll just draw 2 lines like this. And then one here, and then some scribbles. You can even do his heels if you want. They have good traction, so you just draw a little squiggly line at the bottom and cap it off with a straight line, sort of. Just a little straight line at the bottom to smooth everything out. Okay, his hero suit is done. Now for the hair. And Midoriya's hair is so crazy that we can just throw out every rule I've ever said about drawing anime hair and go wild scribbling. But if you want to draw a super accurate hairstyle, I will do that too. So there is method to the madness that is Deku's cute little broccoli head of hair. And we're going to start out with the side that it is parted on. His hair is actually parted, so it's parted right like this. And from here, we get a big squiggly tuft that comes up at the top. Let me adjust my camera because his hair is gonna get out of the shot if I'm not careful. Okay, so we have a strand that goes like this on the lower side and a strand that goes higher up on this side. As for how it affects the hair on his face, on this side we have a strand that curves to our right, while on this side it curves to the left. So it's kind of subtle, but you can see the effects of this part. So I'm just gonna erase it because that's about all it does for the hair. Okay, he has a tiny little hook here, and then a curved one that comes down farther over his face. Next, on this side, he has some more hair that comes over his eye, and then it lands over his ear. Kacchan's hair is easier to draw. I like his hair. Okay, we have a tiny little strand here, and then a big curve. After the big curve, we come down almost over the eyes with a wavy piece. And then from there, it goes out over the head and meets with a very big strand here. Alright, his hair will extend about all the way up here. Since he is a chibi, the hair has to be exaggerated, and it's already pretty big in real life. So let's start ad-libbing spikes. He also has some hair down here, so don't forget to fill that in. Okay, now we can go a step further and shade his hair in, just the way it looks in the anime and manga. So what we'll do is we will re-sketch in this center part, and from here we will draw a few spikes which connect to this tuft up here, and then draw some jagged bits like that. Okay, from the jagged bits we will draw some more spikes, and I will explain why we're doing this in just a second. And this should extend all the way to this curve. And you can draw a line here too if you want. And some lines here. And now we will carefully go in and tone these parts of the hair that we have sectioned off. And we will not tone in this part here or this part here. Let me go through and do that in time lapse. And there we go. Chibi Izuku Midoriya is done. Let's move on to the ever-explosive Kacchan. Alright, now it's time for Bakugo, and his pose is going to be slightly more complex than Deku's. So let's get started. Again, we will be using the circle and rectangle method. So start out with a big circle. It's okay if you don't get it looking good on the first try. Just draw it light and sketchy. Okay, and then another angled rectangle coming off the center of this circle. And you know what, I'm going to draw it really far down because I want to try and fit it all into the rectangle. All of his body should go in here. Okay, like Deku, his legs are going to be spread wide apart, except, unlike Deku, his arms are going to be pointed up. So the motion or pose is going to be like this. And he is sort of leaning forward slightly. So here are all of the weird looking diagrams I just put down to remind myself of the pose. Okay, his head will be tilted slightly away from us and kind of tilted up. Ever so slightly tilted up. Alright, now let's define the face. As usual, we follow the curve of the circle up top and draw the cheek down here. Since he's turned away from us so much, we will actually deviate from the circle. And when we connect to the circle again, then we will add the ear. When it's pointed this way, the shape of the inner ear is like number 2. Let's divide up this rectangle. He will be aiming his body right at us. So divide it vertically and then horizontally in half. Alright, now we will curve in his sides. Just a little. And erase the outer guidelines for that. Then we will bring this down to a triangle just below the intersection of these two lines. And kind of erase that a little bit just so that things are clearer. And I want to do his legs right now, so let's do that. Let me just make the curves of our Kacchan briefs. And Now we will do a sort of straight line off of this, and then the other leg will be much farther out compared to Deku. Alright, now his calf will curve slightly in, while this one is bent considerably. You can already see the kind of pose he's doing. It's his typical pose. He's always like this. Okay, and then we will do his foot. Again, a trapezoid. And then another trapezoid up here. You might notice that the feet are on slightly uneven heights, and this is because we want to do a little of what's called foreshortening, and that is giving the viewer the impression that this leg is farther back than this one. And I don't think this leg is quite in the right position, so I'm gonna go through and redo it. Okay, we can now erase all of the rectangle down here. Okay, let's draw his hands. So we will start again with the stick man arms, starting right up against his face, since like Deku, his head is hunched down over his body, which means that his shoulders end up somewhere around here, so they won't be seen. We'll just draw his arms. So, draw two lines here, and then sort of off from the lines, draw sort of big circles. Okay. Now these will be his angry hands, which will not be fists, but will be held claw-like, like this. Like, yeah, shit. Okay. Lighten them a little so that we can draw over them while still seeing what we're doing. Okay, now for fingers. Since it's a chibi, you don't have to be really careful, but as you can see, I'm just drawing sort of bent, angry looking fingers with a thumb on the outer edge. And same for this side. And now darken it so that it attaches to the circle. Okay, now for his arms, which will just follow this stick line. And then here comes a nice easy part. Since he's going to be wearing his hero costume, we can just draw these gigantic sort of circular shapes to attach his hands to his arms. So just draw big circular shapes like this. If you know Mega Man, this will look sort of like a Mega Man style forearm. And there we go, we have effortlessly joined his hands to his arms. Alright, we can now erase these motion or pose lines and get to work on his face. His face is always fun, especially today because I'm going to draw him really, really, really angry. So let's zoom in just a little. So you can see there's a curve to his face, which means that this eye, which is farther away from us, will appear smaller, and this one will appear bigger. And he has very, very sharp eyes. Not like he can see very well, really well, but like they're sharp edged. And he has tiny, tiny little pupils. So he's going to have huge sharp eyes and tiny little pupils. Let me make this a little bit bigger. Alright, and a hook back up to this edge. Now for his tiny little pupils. Just little dots. It already looks like Bakugo. I'll make this eye a little bit bigger as well. Alright, now for his big angry mouth. We will do sort of a straight line here, and then it curves up and then down. It actually will extend past the face since he's a chibi, and then curve back up to the side. Wow, he's looking angrier by the second. You can do spiky teeth if you want, but that would look a little bit like Kirishima, so I'm just going to do straight teeth that curve up. This is an effect you'll see in cartoons when a character's mouth is wide open. The teeth up top will curve upward, and then bottom row of teeth, and the tongue. And his very, very angry eyebrows. I was debating whether or not I should draw these in, since they will be covered up by his mask and his hero suit, but I decided to just go ahead and draw them in anyways. I'm gonna edit this foot, because it's just not making me happy. So just give me a sec to scribble this until it looks better. Okay, we're ready now to draw his hero suit. So let's start with his mask. His mask starts up here, above where his nose would be if he wasn't a chibi, and comes down, sort of curved under his eyes. We can completely draw in the outlines for his eyes now. And then once it is about right here, off to the side and below his eyes, it will have a jagged edge before going up. Let's do the same on this side. Okay, he also has these things on his shoulders, so draw 2 rectangles here, draw a hoop like this, and then draw 3 circles and black them out. Now we have these shoulder things that I don't know the name or purpose of. Alright, his costume is like an X. It has an X on the front. So draw a big X across his torso, and then make it thick. And erase so that these X's join up. There we go, his shirt. Alright, then he has this really cool, like, utility belt. Is that what they're called? Whenever I say utility belt, I think of Batman from the 1960s. Ooh, what if Bakugo was in that? That would be hilarious. Okay, so there will be these 2 little cylinders like pills on the belt, and then these little boxes just like Deku's. Erase, erase, erase. He always wears these nice thick pants, so let's erase the briefs and use the technique we used on Deku to draw wrinkles for his pants. We just draw some lines off the thighs, and in his case the pants are very, very thick, which means we're going to add some wrinkles here. And then we're going to add some wrinkles here at the knee. Alright, from his belt, he has these straps that come down to his knee and then have this band encircling his leg. Do the same on the other side. Okay, now he has these really brutal looking knee pads. So these are like slightly rounded out diamonds that attach to his leg with straps. And these diamond shapes are divided into quarters with a circle in each quarter. And his pant legs will bunch up at the places where it connects to his legs. Oopsie. Below this, he has really nifty boots that I just love. I would love to own these boots. So let me define the shape of the feet. Unlike Deku, he's going to have some pretty cool looking feet. Really nice and grungy. So he has these like steel toes over the front. So first draw in the bottom of the shoe here, and then draw a connecting steel toe. Just a little bump over the front. On this side it'll be far easier, since you can just draw a rectangle over the shape of the foot and then a little line at the bottom to show where the sole attaches. And then he just has a whole lot of little circles down the boot. There are two rows on the front, so only one row is visible from this side. And his boots have straps, so draw little straps coming off of them. Okay, now for his grenade gauntlets. There are hand guards here. Curve them along with the circle. So just draw a line up, and then you see this circle, this part of the circle down here. Draw another line above it that mirrors the curve. And then outline this edge. Bring it out a little if you want. And then, before we draw the details of the grenade, let's just add the firing pin real quick. So I don't really know how to explain this shape, but here it is. He's taken up a lot of the page. And Bakugo, you're really hogging the spotlight here. Alright, for the detailing on his gloves, we will draw some more circles that follow this line. And then imagine this as the center point and draw lines that span out from it, curving along the edge of this circle. And if you want, you can darken these a bit so that it's more like the actual grenade gauntlets. Like so that it has a 3D appearance. Just sort of round out the corners of these lines. And you'll automatically have the nice 3D appearance of his grenade gauntlets. Alright, on to the last part, his hair. His hair is pretty crazy, but it should be a little easier than Deku's, and it does follow the noticeable patterns of hair that I've done in other tutorials. So we have the front. Oh, by the way, the part for his hair appears to be right here. And we won't really be using that, but I just wanted to point it out in case you wanted to style his hair differently or whatever and wondered where it was parted. Anyways, we'll start with this tuft here. It's just a lot of jagged lines. Then over this eye, we have a tuft that comes out further to our left. Again, jagged lines. His hair is nice and predictable. Then a lot of hair falls over his eye here. Slightly curved line and then jagged again. Then a line that a tuft that expands at the bottom with 3 spikes. And then from around this point, his hair will start spiking up in small, distinct tufts. Okay, then it's sort of smooth right here before it starts getting spiky again. Pretty predictable, spikes everywhere. Alright, that is it for his hair. Now for the final part of his hero costume, which, as you can see, I have run out of paper for. That was not good planning, so I will just have his little explosion marks off to the side. So it's really high up at the top, and then it starts getting smaller. So about 3 or 4 of these smaller spikes, and then really long ones at the bottom. And outline these. Alright, now it is time for toning. Let me go into time-lapse for that. Alright, and that is it for Bakugo. This is my first time drawing these characters, so I hope you like it. Thank you for requesting this tutorial, and I hope it was useful to you. Don't forget to be a sweet and subscribe so that you can stay up to date on all my new videos. I will see you sweets later. Go beyond plus ultra!